What happens when one of comedy's sharpest minds finds herself completely lost in her own kid's lingo? Maya Rudolph has long been renowned for her relatability, humor, and wit, but in recent months, she has drawn attention to something much more intimate: her thoughts on Gen Z lingo and the changing landscape of contemporary parenting, particularly as seen through the unusual prism of celebrity life. Rudolph talked candidly in a number of interviews and public appearances, including a standout performance on Jimmy Kimmel Live in October 2025, about what it's like to raise four kids in a world dominated by social media, fast-paced fashions, and the overwhelming speed of digital communication. More than merely amusement, her remarks shed light on the widening generational divide and how parents, including well-known ones, are adjusting to a culture that appears to change every few months. When Rudolph appeared on Jimmy Kimmel Live, she started talking about her busy family life with the open humor that has won her fans. "Now I have a house full of teenagers," she smirked. "I'm not among the youths. They are the other residents of the area." The line established the tone for an amusing yet perceptive examination of how generational and linguistic divides may alter family dynamics. According to Rudolph, her children have taken words and made them new words, changing commonplace statements into something completely distinct. This is a situation that all parents of teenagers can identify with. She chuckled and acknowledged that she occasionally used Gen Z terminology to express a mood or vibe, such as "it's giving," but she drew the line at other times. She said, "I'll be honest, sometimes I'll say it's giving, but I'm sorry, 6 to 7 is just, it's rubbish." Her remark resonated on the internet, with parents and watchers nodding in agreement as they both struggled to understand what 6 to 7 actually means. She sees these new linguistic innovations as evidence of how rapidly culture is being reshaped by youth. The fundamental change in communication, however, as well as the fact that her children's world is based on codes and symbols that set their generation apart from previous generations, captivated her more than the slang itself. Rudolph also acknowledged that her children make fun of her for texting with proper punctuation. "Oh," they say, "that was written by Mama." She laughed and remarked, "There's an exclamation point." "Yeah," I say, "it's known as punctuation." The remark captures something more profound than just the humor: the evolution of communication standards. Once considered a sign of civility, punctuation today reads as excessively formal or even passive-aggressive to younger users in a digital age, where speed and informality are the norm. Rudolph's family, like many others, turns into a microcosm of how language and technology can divide generations while simultaneously bringing them together via common laughter. Rudolph's approach is unique in that she does not view these generational divides as obstacles. Rather, she sees them as learning experiences. She sees her kids' use of slang as an expression of creativity rather than disrespect or alienation. "I thought, wow, I'm another generation to them," she admits, embracing the fact that she belongs to an older generation. She finds humor and beauty in that divide instead of fighting it. Her comments reflect what many parents today realize: language is dynamic, and comprehending adolescent culture frequently requires accepting ambiguity with a sense of humor. Rudolph, however, attributes these language peculiarities to something more intimate: her function as a parent adjusting to change. She is open about how rapidly her family dynamics have changed as the mother of 4 children with renowned director Paul Thomas Anderson, son Jack, 2014, daughter Pearl, born 2004, daughter Lucille, 2010, and daughter Minnie, 2013. She recently used the words painful and confusing to describe the emotional toll of sending her oldest daughter off to college. "Why the fee? Do we let them go?" she said. "I'm still a long way from grasping it. Why was parenthood created in this manner?" The comment, which is both humorous and honest, perfectly expresses the sorrow of seeing a child becoming self-sufficient. This anguish is common and becomes more acute in a time when life is moving so quickly. According to Rudolph, being a mother is a continuously changing experience rather than a set identity. In a statement that perfectly captures the emotional roller coaster of contemporary parenting, she claimed that changing diapers was simpler than letting her kids choose their own paths. The way she connects these feelings to the demands of being a public figure is what makes her reflections particularly moving. She rejects the notion that celebrity should equate to perfection, despite the fact that her family is well known. In actuality, she frequently conveys the exact opposite, a picture of uncertainty, laughter, love, and anarchy all mixed together. By doing this, she gently questions the conventional narrative of famous parents who appear to have no trouble navigating family life. This viewpoint is also influenced by her upbringing. In an interview with The New Yorker, Rudolph talked about growing up with musical parents. Her father, composer Richard Rudolph, and her mother, the renowned Minnie Riperton. She pondered, "Square people make round babies," alluding to the way imaginative homes might create children who are unusual but well-rounded. Being raised in a musical and artistic family, she saw personally how, for better or worse, artistic expression could coexist with everyday life. She still applies the same philosophy to her parenting today, promoting uniqueness, humor, and transparency, even in the face of difficult or perplexing situations. Rudolph's strategy demonstrates a lot about how celebrity parenting is changing. Rudolph symbolizes a new age of openness, in contrast to previous generations of public personalities who protected their family lives with strict secrecy or flawless perfection. She doesn't hold back when discussing the frustrations of having children who roll their eyes at her texts or who only use memes to express themselves. She accepts vulnerability instead. Her supporters may relate to her because of her genuineness, as can parents everywhere who find it difficult to strike a balance between tradition and modernity. The stakes are considerably higher for parents who are celebrities. The media has the power to magnify every phrase, joke, and family story, putting pressure on people to be both cool and responsible. But Rudolph avoids that hazard. She views her house as a place of genuineness rather than a stage. Nevertheless, her private life invariably influences her public character, and vice versa. She has talked of coming back to Saturday Night Live years after leaving and discovering that she had taken on the role of mother there, which is a representation of how experience and time can alter one's identity even in familiar settings. Her transition from the carefree artist to the responsible, if often perplexed parent, mentoring her own creative teenagers, is reflected in that insight. Rudolph's observations are based on the knowledge that modern parenting involves both authority and adaptation. Flexibility is necessary due to the quick changes in society, from slang to social media trends. Her amusement at her kids' punctuation-related jokes and her inability to completely understand every meme point to a new parenting philosophy. You don't need to know everything to stay in touch. All you need to do is remain involved. In 2025, when technology is accelerating change more quickly than any previous generation could have predicted, that principle is particularly relevant. Her quotations nicely capture this idea. "My children have created new words out of existing ones. Oh, they say, that was written by Mama." An exclamation point is present. "Yeah," I say. It's known as punctuation. In her humorous frustration, she asks, "Why do we let them go?" Why was parenthood created in this manner? A mixture of heartbreak and laughter permeates each speech, serving as a reminder that the same age-old problems persist even in the homes of famous people. Regardless of how many movie premieres or red carpet appearances you've attended, parenting is still fundamentally an exercise in love, patience, and acceptance. If Maya Rudolph's honest take on parenting and pop culture made you smile, hit like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss our next deep dive into the stories behind Hollywood's funniest and most human moments.